Welcome to the Approach podcast. I'm Cassidy Gates, founder of The Approach and creator of the Soma and Semantics practice. This is a place where curiosity comes first. Together we explore the science of behavior, communication, somatic practices, consciousness, leadership, and the patterns that shape how we think, speak, and live. Each conversation is an invitation to look through a different lens, not to tell you what to believe, but to give you ideas worth examining. At The Approach, we believe the body primes, words cast, actions create. Our work is guided by four principles: evaluate, liberate, cultivate, and iterate. Whether you're here to challenge your perspective, deepen your understanding, or simply become more intentional in how you move through life, we thank you for listening. Now let's begin today's conversation. We can't save everybody.
No. And never mind. I'm not going to start with that. So, what was I going to say? Okay. So, who was this guy since he's not here?
What?
Who was the guy we were supposed to be interviewing?
Oh, Ashley Neptune. He
You
studied
say Ashley Neptune or he?
That's the name. It's a he.
It's a he, and his name is Ashley.
Yeah. You need to work on that, limiting the leap kicking in. I'm doing great right now.
I'm just getting clarification.
Yeah. I feel that clarification. True. Ashley Neptune is astropsychology. We'll just move on because this is why I really wanted him on the show. But he also has been, I believe, anthropologist. What did he say about that? I've noticed a lot of people throw in a lot of titles, and then I have to look very deep to find out exactly 100%. So, and he also said that he had lived in ashrams, temples, off-grid communities. Astrocartography. And that's what he was supposed to be telling us about, because I don't really understand what all of it was. I know it's much like the horoscope, and like they take your birthday, the time, and everything, and do it through whatever they do it through using the science of astrology. But it's not like the horoscopes, it was different.
And what is this?
Astrocartography?
Okay. On existential astropsychology, identity coaching, and relocation consulting through astrocartography.
Yeah.
Oh. Before entering this field. Yeah. I mean, cartography is maps, study of maps. So this is basically, I'll explain it here in a sec. I spent years producing and editing podcasts in the psychology and personal development space, collaborating with psychotherapists, neuroscientists, neuropsychologists. What? That seems like a double entendre. A neuropsychologist. I thought that's what they did. Coaches, healers, and practitioners working at the intersection of therapeutic healing modalities. I have also ranked among the top 10 podcast producers. Yeah, I would love to know what any of those podcasts are and any information that backs any of that shit up. So that's cool. My professional background spans more than 25 years and includes work as excuse me. I stopped smoking cigarettes and I went for a run last night and this morning, so it's all coming out now.
Did you say you stopped?
Yeah. I mean, I never
Well,
really started, but
so you never really started or stopped. It's just there.
I like smoking.
I miss
But
my vape.
but smoking is bad for your health. Now
Exactly.
I've gotten around it by fooling myself that American spirits are fine, but are they when you smoke a pack a day?
No, that's
Hmm.
the question. It's always the same question. Why?
Cigarette an hour, right? You fucking anyway. So until I get that self control under under control, I got to be off them poison sticks.
So I had quit vaping a year ago, and it's like really bad here lately. How bad I want to go buy one. But I
Vape.
quit.
I literally started smoking vape or started smoking American spirits to get off vapes because I there's no basis for this, but I'm pretty sure China is poisoning us through the vapes, and I'm not interested in inhaling Chinese poison.
I didn't start
And so it's
smoking
like, which
until I
which
was
one does
introduced
which one does more harm? Marlboro
everything.
cigarettes or American spirits? Well, Marlboro's does more harm. Okay, what does more harm? Vapes or American spirits? And it's like, all right, well, they do the least harm, and I'll just do the least harm thing. Wrong.
Okay. But if you start caring about that, this is where your mind's going to go next. You got to focus on what you eat.
Oh, it's
How
already
easy
there.
is it? How easy is it to actually eat how you're supposed to eat?
I mean, everything's easy if you set yourself up for success.
Bro, you're sitting there smoking while you say this.
This is marijuana. This is medicinal. Okay, prescribed.
But
Okay,
time
look
out.
at this. Look at this prescription label.
Even if it's prescribed, which I don't believe you, but even if it's prescribed, you're smoking it. You're smoking it. Anything you
Mhm.
smoke harms your lungs. So if you want to nitpick anything, you have to nitpick
Oh
everything.
no, and I'm not
Yes.
interested. Well, okay, great, but I'm not nitpicking anything, so I don't have to nitpick everything either. By your logic.
You just like to argue at this point. Okay.
No, you like to make statements about things that you are not related to, and then you're wrong.
Okay. I'm a human being,
Ow!
and we all make
Ow!
the
My
same choice. Oh,
feelings!
fuck no.
Ah!
No.
Ooh! Ah!
And by trying to shift that, that's your ego.
Well, it's very interesting you say about shifting that because if I remember
That's what
correctly, I was
I'm.
reading what we were supposed to be talking about, not critiquing my smoking
Yeah,
habits.
and
So
you switched. And you
thanks for the
switched.
reflection.
You started talking about the smoking.
Actually, I said,
You switched
excuse me
topics.
for hacking a lung. That's what I started with.
And you started
So
talking about
I think you're going to have to go back and replay
I
the
want
tape.
I
Okay.
want to
In fact,
no.
this is your chance.
Okay, yes,
Listeners, followers, and
pause,
other
pause.
people who share, go back, replay it, tell us in the comments how it went. Please continue.
Let's pick a topic to actually discuss because I don't know about his topic. That's why I wanted to talk to him.
Well, I mean, let's finish going through the bio and then we can. I mean, I have things to talk about related to what he has to say. Like, again, I don't understand why we can't use this as a guide for what we talk about. So, 25, his professional background spans more than 25 years as a award-winning musician with rock and roll Hall of Fame credits, interdisciplinary anthropologist, certified yoga and meditation instructor, Aikigi life coach, mixing and mastering engineer, professional video editor, business graduate. I have devoted years of study to astrology, the Mayan calendars, cross-cultural wisdom traditions. Okay.
I've studied lots of things too, and that's one of the things I do love about all this is everybody always says they studied this.
Studied what? Yoga?
Everything.
I mean, yeah. I mean, no offense against anybody in this space, but I'm extremely skeptical of you, and I am going to question you to death because I am
Yeah, I've
skeptical.
noticed.
I'm super skeptical of anybody who claims to know anything. You say, "Hey, this
I
is how
know
it is."
nothing.
How do you know? Tell me how you know. It goes back to Stoicism. Is it in your sphere of influence or is it outside your sphere of influence? If it's inside your sphere of influence where you can control it, it means it's in your inner world. That's how you know whether it's factually and true. If it's outside your world, somebody told you it, somebody read it, um, you know. But so I mean, I guess the short, I mean,
Okay, no, I need you to
because
hold and repeat exactly what you just said about Stoicism.
um,
Okay, never mind. Audience, if you need to re-listen, I just want you can go back and you can re-listen to what he just said because we did start this conversation talking about me defending yoga. You just said what you said. All right, okay. The source of right knowledge are direct perceptions, inference, and spiritual testimonies. When they talk about spiritual testimonies, that is only within a trusted source that you trust. When we're talking about perception, that is your self perception, how you see it. And
mhm,
interference, how did they word interference? I don't remember. Oh, so if you see smoke
there's fire.
for yourself, there is fire.
No, where
And
there no
yeah,
no
so
no. That is a base reality fact. If there's smoke, there's fire. If you smell smoke, there's fire. If it doesn't
okay, but
smell right.
anyways, I don't know what I said. I think I figure I said it incorrectly, but that sounds very close to what you were saying about Stoicism.
Stoicism,
Mm,
yeah,
Stoicism?
yeah, the art of
I don't
being a
know.
stoic.
Okay.
Um, let me see if I have a couple of reference books here. But I mean, I guess I mean yes. I mean the idea. I mean essentially the idea is that the only thing that you can know for true is what is inside of you, and the only thing that you can control is within inside of you. Everything else is outside of your control. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't know about yoga because I got it through Stoicism. I don't give a shit. Where is it?
Hmm, hmm.
Uh,
Take your time. Take your time.
this is fucked.
Maybe you should organize your books.
Judgmental. They are organized. The question is,
Judgmental.
what frame of mind was I in when I did it?
Oh,
Because it could be
oh.
considered a philosophy book, or it could be considered a self
I'm
improvement book, and I
so
have those on
I'm
two different shelves.
I am so happy I'm not the one who does crap like that. And then it's like, oh wait, but now today, I don't know would I've classified that as philosophy.
Oh wow! Well, that's a huge bummer. I gave that book to somebody.
You know
That's a
that one
bummer.
book we were talking about?
Ooh, you know what? I can still hear you.
That
Keep going.
Philip Cooper. I gave it to somebody to read, and I haven't even finished it.
Oh man. Well, why'd you go and
I
do that?
literally, I literally gave it to somebody at work
Yeah, but
yesterday.
you don't give books away that you're in the middle of reading.
Oh, I'm not. She's gonna give it back.
Maybe.
No, if not, I'll buy another one.
Oh, you know. Oh, there it is. Perfect. I didn't give it away. I'm too smart for that. In fact, I stopped giving
I'll
books away
collect it.
because all the books that I've given away, nobody fucking reads them. So I'm not giving no books away no more.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that you were like, what, 5, 6 years ahead of me in this like journey of things. I still give books away apparently, and I don't know yet that I'm not going to get them back. So I guess I'll find out.
It's not about not getting them back. I don't give books in the
Oh, they don't read
expectation of
them.
getting them back. I give them it with the expectation that they'll be.
Well, we'll
Excuse me for
see.
being a little touchy on it, but like
Here,
it touches on something for me
look.
this week, the last couple of weeks. But this is the book, or the book that I started Stoicism with, A Guide to the Good Life by William Irvine. And let's see if I can find what we're talking about here.
Honestly, I feel like the book, while you're looking for that, that got me started down this path was actually Let Them. It was like the very beginning for me. Mel Robbins, just because it's one of the biggest things I think we struggle with is the whole let them. Because you're supposed to be focused on you.
I think so. I think that idea. Yeah. Okay. So that idea that we're talking about, the name for it is called fatalism, and what if there was a sentence that you could understand fatalism with, it would be, we have no control over the past, nor do we have any control over the present, if by the present we mean this very moment. Therefore we are wasting our time if we worry about the past or present events. Notice too that the advice that we be fatalistic, that doesn't seem right, but okay, with respect to the past and present is connected in a curious way to the advice that we practice negative visualization. And basically, negative visualization isn't that you. Well, number one, negative visualization is a tool that the Stoics use, and it doesn't mean that you like it's not negative in the sense it is negative, but it's not negative in the colloquial connotation of it. It's like um let's say you have this feeling come up about your dog, right? And you're like, oh my god, I don't want my dog to die. And so what a Stoic does is they go into this exercise where you start negatively visualizing all of the instances in which in where your dog would die or could die or has died. And the idea is that you experience it over and over and over and over, and so you get to feel all those feelings, and then those feelings that you feel because of it cause you to react differently in your life, where I'm going to miss my dog when they're gone. So now instead of not taking them on a walk, not playing with them as frequently as I want to, not loving them the way that I think that I want to love them, feeling all those negative emotions causes you to act differently. And then the ultimate idea is that once you get to that final stage when they are dead, there are no emotions because you've already felt all the emotions. And so now you can just live in that present moment of, it is what it is. The dog is dead. I loved him as best I could while I had the time. And now we move on past it.
For the benefit of the audience, could you do that with a person? Because
Do
how
what
do
with a
you
person?
balance do the
Negative
I want to
visualization?
Yes, I don't like using the word negative, but yes, the negative visualization. Because what if it disturbs your peace? Are you still going to keep doing everything? Because like the way you're wording it with the dog, it makes me personally feel like you're doing everything you absolutely should to make sure that dog has a good life, and then you won't feel guilty at the end of it. Now, how would you do it for a person?
What makes you think that it would be any different for a person? Because it's not. It's literally the exact same thing.
Is
Um,
it?
who's close in your life? Who's close to you in your life? Who's the closest person?
We're not going to use the closest, my kids. I mean, that's the closest.
Okay. Well, um, I guess the first prerequisite of this would be that your peace is being disturbed by some sort of negative thought, negative pattern, negative occurrence, and then you have to go in and examine it, right? And then this is one particular way to examine it. If you don't have that fear, right? Because it is a lot of fear-based stuff. So if you don't have that fear within you, there's nothing to visualize about because you're good. You have the positive vision that you're looking at as opposed to the negative. Um, and I will say that that is where Stoicism leaves things on the table. Where for me, or to me, they make things make sense a lot as far as like um, here, now, present moment. Uh, and it's a great starting place, but that's not where it ends, right? Because once you've got your mental faculties and your emotions no longer disturbed, and you feel more level and in control of yourself, that's step one. Step two is now, how do I make myself feel better than I feel now? And then that final step is, how do I start creating my own reality? I think, if you were going to kind of like put them in general clumps. Um, and so Stoicism, and there's other tools out there, and it's not just Stoicism, but it's like, there's a whole body of works, body of knowledge. Could be biohacking stuff, because taking care of your mind is just as important as taking care of your body, and your body needs proper nutrition, proper hydration, proper rest, proper stimulus, right? Because there are some people who have too much stimulus, and there are some people who don't have enough. And all these imbalances on the outside create imbalances and ripples on the inside. Um, like Jordan Peterson says, if you got a messy room, you have a messy mind. Clean your room, and then you'll feel better.
That also, like, is said specifically in yoga texts, but we'll go past that. I
Make the reference. It's fine. I'm not,
can look it
again.
up, but
You're
all it is
you're
is it
you're.
explains the ripples of the mind. Like, so you're trying to smooth it out.
Mhm.
They use the pond, the river, as an
Yeah,
example, the ripples of
but
the
I
mind.
but I gotta understand why you're bringing yoga up as if I'm against yoga.
I just had to because it's so interesting, and I would just love for everybody to be interested in reading it.
Well,
But no,
maybe
pause. I gotta focus. There was something you said. Okay, with is it Stoicism? Is that what you said a while ago?
stoicism.
Stoicism. With that, it sounds like it's a bunch of negative reinforcement. Is there any positive?
No, there's not a lot of positivity in stoicism. It's not focused on that. It's focused on here. There's a better way. There's a way to better way to understand this. Um, let's see. So I guess the simple way to kind of start explaining it would be that, like, you have to put yourself in the shoes of ancient Greeks, right? They didn't have religion, or at least not in the way that we describe religion. Sure, they had Zeus and they had gods, and they practiced things, but they didn't necessarily define it as religion or call it that way. They had what they described as philosophies of life, um, and you had the Stoics, you had the Cynics, you had there's a whole bunch of different people or a whole bunch of different schools of thought. A lot of them came as like descendants of like Socrates and Plato and, these great thinkers. But the core tenet of Stoicism is that Stoicism basically starts with the belief that there is a God and God created all things. And when God created all things, or the creator, again, they're non-specific. They're not even saying Zeus did it, right? But what they do say is that, the creator that created all things, everything has a purpose that it was designed for. And they believe that in the humans case, that special purpose is our reasoning ability, the fact that we have the ability to reason and think and use logic. And so that's where it starts. And so then they say, okay, well, if that's what we're supposed to do, well, then how do we apply that to these feelings that we feel, right? Because the Stoics were trying to address, those existential pains that people have. And it's the same existential pain that they had in ancient times that we have here today. It's not about having, all these extra luxury items. It's about, is your life fulfilling? Are you doing what you think you're supposed, or are you doing what you want to do? Are you doing what's important to you? And so the idea that we as beings become emotionally disturbed and then not rational anymore, that means, that's a huge problem and we have to fix it. And so their idea of fixing it is, what are these tools that we can kind of create to address them? And yes, they are kind of negative centric, but they're not, like I said, it's not negative in the same connotation where it's not like them pointing at something and saying that's bad. It's the same way that we describe negativity in, like, say like any spiritual setting, right? It's not that negativity is bad. It just is, its qualities are negative. And it does have a place, right?
I guess a better
Again,
way of phrasing that, like
the sorry, go ahead.
within that act though, going through the negative scenarios, is any part of that actually trying to find the positive within the negative scenarios or just acceptance? So, okay, there's no positive. Like, I need the
It's
positive
well,
out of it.
but see, that's for you to put in there, right?
That's what I'm asking.
So
Like, do you find the
so
positive from it?
so this is what it says in the first chapter about negative visualization. Any thoughtful person will periodically contemplate the bad things that can happen to him. The obvious reason for doing this is to prevent those things from happening. Some people, for example, spend time thinking about the ways people could break into their home so he could prevent them from doing so. Or he might spend time thinking about the diseases that might affect him so he can take preventative measures. But no matter how hard we try to prevent bad things from happening, some will happen anyway. Seneca, therefore, points to a second reason for contemplating the bad things that happen to us. If we think about these things, we will lessen their impact on us when, despite our efforts at prevention, they happen. He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand. Misfortune weighs most heavily, he says, on those who expect nothing but good fortune. So there's your positivity, right? Epictetus echoes this advice. We should keep in mind that all things everywhere are perishable. The Bible says the same thing, right? Something about make your riches in heaven and not here on earth. If we fail to recognize this and instead go around assuming that we will always be able to enjoy the things we value, we will likely find ourselves subject to considerable distress when those things are taken from us. Because, make no mistake, they can and will be taken. We talked about that the other night. When you're being spiritually tested on your path as to whether or not you're actually committed, are you willing to wear rags and be homeless and start from nothing? Because if you say those words and you don't mean them, it's going to be really shitty when it all happens.
Holy.
So the psychologists Shane Frederick and George Lowenstein have studied this phenomenon and given it a name: hedonic adaptation. To illustrate this adaptation process, they point to studies of lottery winners. Winning a lottery typically allows someone to live the life of his or her dreams. It turns out, though, that after the initial period of exhilaration, lottery winners end up about as happy as they previously were. They start taking their new Ferrari and mansion for granted, the way they previously took their rusted out pickup and cramped apartment for granted. Another less dramatic form of hedonic adaptation takes place when the consumer purchases. Initially, we have delight at the widescreen TV or fine leather handbag. After time, though, we despise them and find ourselves longing for an even bigger screen or a more extravagant bag. So the Stoics thought they had an answer to this question. They recommended that we spend time imagining that we have lost the things we value, that our wife had left us, our car was stolen, or we lost our job. Doing this, Stoics thought, will make us value our wife, our car, our job more than we otherwise would. This technique, let us refer to as negative visualization, was employed by the Stoics at least as far back as Chrysippus. It is, I think, the single most valuable technique in the psychological toolkit. Seneca describes the negative visualization technique in the consolation he wrote to Marcia, a woman who, 3 years after the death of her son, was grief-stricken as on the day she buried him. In this consolation letter, besides telling Marcia how to overcome her current grief, Seneca offers advice on how she can avoid falling victim to such grief in the future. What she needs to do is anticipate the events that can cause her to grieve. In particular, he says she should remember that that all we have is on loan from fortune, which can reclaim without our permission. It is indeed even advance notice. It is without even advance notice. Thus, we should love all of our dear ones, but always with the thought that we have no promise that we may keep them forever. Nay, no promise even that we may keep them for long. While enjoying the companionship of loved ones, then we should periodically stop and reflect on the possibility that this enjoyment may come to an end. If nothing else, our own death will end it. Epictetus counsels us, for example, when we kiss a child, to remember that she is mortal and not something that we own, that she has been given to us for the present, not inseparably nor forever. His advice: in the very act of kissing the child, we should silently reflect on the possibility that she will die tomorrow. In his Meditations, by the way, Marcus Aurelius approvingly quotes this advice. To see how imagining the death of a child can make us appreciate her, consider two fathers. The first takes Epictetus' advice to heart and periodically reflect on his child's mortality. The second refuses to entertain such gloomy thoughts. He instead assumes that his child will outlive him and that she will always be around for him to enjoy. The first father will almost certainly be more attentive and loving than the second one. When he sees his daughter first thing in the morning, he will be glad that she is still part of his life, and during the day he will take full advantage of the opportunities to interact with her. The second father, in contrast, will be unlikely to experience a rush of delight upon encountering his child in the morning. Indeed, he may not even look up from his newspaper to acknowledge her presence in the room. During the day, he will fail to take advantage of the opportunities to interact with her in the belief that those interactions can be done tomorrow. And when he finally does get around to interacting with her, the delight he derives from her company will not be as profound, one supposes, as the delight as the first father experiences. So that's where I'll leave all that.
Biggest thing I was trying to differentiate was kind of like that hypervigilance or like the anxiety thinking loop. But I see where you're going because that actually is one of the things I had found myself doing when I was thinking about something I knew was going to happen. So I would think, and I've even asked people to do it before. Um, Worst case scenario, do you have a roof over your head and something to eat? All right, you're good. That's what I want you to focus on. It's so easy though to forget. Yeah, no, that's yeah, I get it. So
No,
it kind
I
of
know it, but
diminishes everything else that we think is a problem.
that's the idea. Because in reality, there's not really any problems. Like, yeah, there are. I mean, you could say so, but like, is
I
it
don't
really
know.
worth putting the energy into? Like, I'm at the point in my life where I don't talk about negative stuff because I don't even like the energy it takes to even see the negative stuff. It just, who cares? All right, they cut me off. They almost hit me. I almost died this weekend going to the Grand Canyon, right? 18 wheeler all over the road, right? Had damage like the front of his car, like he had already hit something somewhere, right? So his front was all fucked up. And the proclaimed Christian next to me was cussing out the driver and, had all sorts of stuff to say about it and was very upset about, being so close to whatever. And I'm I'm on Mario Kart, dude. I'm like, yeah, woohoo! You know what I mean? Like, let's see what happens. I don't like because again, like, and now, like, has that how I've always been? No, absolutely not. There was a very long, multiple year period, 2, 3 years long, where you go into that negativity of loop of, fuck that guy, I'm right, and I deserve to be right, and I am right, and and they're wrong, and they deserve to be wrong, and I should be able to tell them that, and all this other stuff, and you're not wrong there either, but it's just which outcome gets you where you want to go, and if you don't know where you're trying to go, which is kind of what Stoicism is talking about, if you're not conscious of what you're trying to do, well, then you're not going to do shit. And I think I know I relate to that, and I think most people can relate to that. Um, it's not very easy to self motivate, to self start, to it's like I was talking with somebody this morning about how not knowing or not being familiar with the task at hand or whatever it is that they're about to do, it's a huge obstacle, and I know it is for me too, and it keeps me from doing a ton. But then I also know that as soon as I overcome that switch in my mind, if I just switch the other way and say, I'm doing it, I'm committed, and it's happening, well, guess what? I spent the first 6 hours of the day dreading the task, and then I spent 2 hours doing it, and I'm already 50% done. And it's like, wow, what a waste of time. What an enormous waste of time and effort. Running loops in my mind about the what ifs and the what coulds and it's like, nah.
Oh, dang. I feel like that's a lot of what I struggle with lately.
It is.
But I still get a lot done. But I could get so much more done if I just could calm
That's
my
where I'm at.
mind.
That's where I'm at. And here's where it gets dangerous when you become complacent. And that's where I'm at. And that's why I'm trying to, reinstill that discipline and consistency in myself, because like I said, towards the beginning of this I'm so good. I am so good. I got everything I need, right? Part of the reason why I'm not all that interested in manifesting is what else do I need? I got everything. I got all my books. I got all my vehicles. I got could there be more? Sure. Do you need more? What do you need more for? Right? What are you now? If you have a reason and you have, a thing, right? Like, for example, do I want 250 acres? Here's the manifestation. If you're curious, I want 250 acres. I want it to be a large log cabins, Yellowstone National Park style log cabin home. It's going to be, I mean, I'm not going to go into the business aspect of it, but essentially that's the simple version of it. That's all I want. If I could have 250 acres in that log cabin to be able to run buffalo and cow and grow my own food and just live there peacefully, that's all I want. That's been what I have been thinking about, what I've been working towards, what I've want since I was 16. It has a $500,000 price tag. And when you're fucking, it takes a long time to save $500,000. And that's only if you're one of the 45% of Americans that actually saves money, or 35% of Americans that actually save money, because 65% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck and are in debt up to their eyeballs. So, it takes a long time. And, that doesn't even take into the the current situation of the world. But I'm not in a rush. I trust the universe. I trust God to deliver these things when the time is appropriate. In the meantime, what's my job? My job is to stay busy and to, stay in prayer, I guess you could say, but like what you said at the beginning of the podcast about, like, how do you stay in that place? It's like, because it's who you are. Like, I don't go to sleep anymore. I'm always awake. And I don't mean like sleep. I mean like the things that you like, those things that we talked about that you become not conscious of. I'm always conscious of them at all times. And I see more and more of it, right? Third eye opening, the whole world, you start to see the world for what it is. And maybe there's some ego, maybe there's some hubris in there, maybe there's some bias. Please, I'm always down to hear it.
So, how do
But
you
it
prevent,
is a
like,
choice.
but how do you prevent, like, how would you prevent going back to sleep? Okay, so here's my thing. Is I was there, right? I was there, and I can't, like, still thinking back, because I'm not 100%. I'm like 80%. I can't figure out or pinpoint when I shifted.
Is that important? What I
Yeah.
found is there's a lot of questions that I have because I'm a curious kitten, and I'd say about 50% of them are not. They don't matter. Like, they don't matter at all. Like, I mean, and I know that's a tough pill to swallow because, like, you're like me like that, but like, I've run into healers, like breathwork healers, other people, and or like that one woman that we or interviewed the other day, talking about how you don't even have to be in the same room with the person to heal. You don't need to be in the same space. You don't, like, they don't even need to know what they're healing from. If you believe in energy and you believe in frequency and you believe in all, like, then that is factually true, and I know that to be true. But however, I have a preference, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean,
I lot.
I'm not gonna dismiss it, because I mean, supposedly belief is like the all powerful, but I don't know. There's just
Well, it is. It
what, like,
is.
action reaction though. Like, there's still a balance. I don't. But there's a balance. Like, you.
No, but, well, I mean, not. No, not really. Not really. Okay, there's two things. Number one, the short version, or the short one, is they did a experiment where they hooked people up to a random number generator, and they did a control group with no person hooked up, and the random number generator generated random numbers. Well, as soon as they hooked it up to a person and then had that person focus on a 1 or a 0, the random number generator went exponentially in whichever direction that person focused on. So, number one, your thoughts absolutely exponentially influence your reality. So, the longer and more consistent that you can stay in tune, the higher up that curve, that exponential curve, you end up, making it. The second thing I was going to say about it was Bruce Lipton. Bruce Lipton wrote a book called The Biology of Belief. Bruce Lipton is somebody who Joe Dispenza talks to and has, works with or whatever. But he talked about how biology is essentially wrong, right? We have a false belief in biology. And that false belief is that, I'll ask you, you probably know the answer. Where is the brain of a cell? Or what is the brain of a cell? Single-celled
I'm afraid to
organism.
answer at this point.
You should be. Just give me the answer. Give me the answer that you.
No matter what I say.
Give me the answer you know.
Nucleus.
Great. You say it's the nucleus. That's what modern medical people would all tell you, right? You go to the doctor. They think the nucleus is the brain of the cell. Well, I'm here to tell you, as an uneducated fool, that is factually untrue. He proved it, and it's very simple to understand why. What is the one commonality of a brain between all organisms? When you remove the brain, the organism dies. When you remove the nucleus of a cell, does the cell die? No. The cell just stops reproducing, and it will die in its natural course. So then the question becomes, what is the one organelle that you can't remove on a cell, or it will die? What's the answer?
No, you go ahead.
No, what's the answer? You tell me. Come on, you know it. I know you know it.
No, I don't.
Of course you do.
The energy. I don't know. I just want to say the energy.
The what?
I don't
The
know.
energy?
I don't know. I'm confused on what you asked. What you can't remove for it to.
Well, yeah.
Continue?
What is the one organelle, right, in a cell that you can't remove that will kill it? You remove the nucleus, it's fine. You remove, I don't know. I don't really necessarily know the parts of a cell anymore.
I know. That's why I'm sitting here like, what do you want me to say? Like, I remember the nucleus.
All right, great. So then the short answer is the cell wall. The cell wall is the answer. The cell wall is the brain. Because if you remove the cell wall, it dies, right? And not just because like the cell explodes, right? That is functionally what happens. But why is the cell wall the brain aside from that? Well, we know it's the brain because a cell moves intelligently around its environment. If you look at if you look at a cell wall under the microscopes and technology that we have now, they found that there are gates and channels that open all along the cell wall, right? And they have receptors in them. And so the cell is intelligently thinking and moving around its environment, right? It knows what its environment is based on the chemicals it's receiving through its cell wall. Some of them it wants, some of it doesn't want. Maybe it needs sodium, maybe it needs H2O, maybe it needs food, maybe it needs this. But the point is that all of those functions take place in the cell wall, not in the nucleus, not in any other organelle in the cell. And so then the idea is that, okay, so single-celled organisms, you can influence the single-celled organism by its environment, right? If you put, the cell in a solution and then you change the solution around, the cell will act differently, behave differently, whatever. Well, if it's true for a single cell, it's true for us. And then the idea being we are a multi-cell organism and we have conscious control of our thoughts. And so if we think a constant thought, our body, our cells will respond to that thought. That's not any different than that, random number generator experiment with the exponential curve. It's no different than the art of manifesting or The Secret or prayer or the placebo effect or whatever you want to call it. It could be called anything. Doesn't matter the name. It's crazy. Shit gets me fired up. So
what are you calling it then? Because what are you calling it though?
Well, I call it all of those things, right? I mean, like.
And see, that's what so on a macro scale, that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying manifesting.
Well, right, but yes.
Okay. And because I do the body primes, word cast, actions create. That's what it come from.
Mm-hmm.
So just how a cell changes from its environment. So you change your body posture and everything else like that. You're changing the way people perceive you. You're affecting the environment.
Mm-hmm.
How you speak and what you say affects people. I mean, we know this. There's manipulation tactics. There is hypnotherapy, and it is literally using words in a direct way with emotion to bypass your logical conscious brain to speak to that subconscious. So that's also a way to alter others or alter yourself. You can do it to yourself. And then the actions actually
Well,
tend
that
to
I mean,
follow.
mechanically, that would be the idea, right? If you keep all these thoughts running in overtime in your conscious mind, eventually some of them are going to sink down into your subconscious mind. And then once enough of them build up in your subconscious mind, it's a feedback loop, right? But if you're not conscious of that process and you don't participate in that process, nothing will change. Manifestation won't work. Um, I mean, and again, that's coming from somebody like I'm not some frou frou trying to call down a Ferrari from the clouds kind of guy. That would be cool. I am open to that experience. Please God, I would like that. But it's just there's just I believe that the universe doesn't give you what you want. The universe gives you what you need. And if you're not capable of handling the power responsibly, the universe knows that and it will not give you it. Or, I mean, it'll try to give you it, it'll test you, and it'll be a really rocky, bumpy road until you learn the lessons that you need to be successful. And there's been quite a few lessons the universe has given me over the last couple of years. One of the themes, one of the lessons has been around leadership, right? But that has now even further evolved, not just into leadership, but into now what I'm starting to think about is like stewardship.
Thanks for listening to the Approach podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this episode. Thanks for being a part of the Approach. Be sure you don't miss what's coming next. We're just getting this practice started. Check out the links below to visit theapproach.net. Connect with today's guest, explore their content, discover more episodes and resources.